And we are live, and welcome to the round 14 edition of the SCP show Q&A. Just to introduce everyone, my name is Matt, Supercoach God. Follow me on Twitter. Introducing now Paige from Supercoach Paige, the Iron Paige. Tell us about your weekend, Paige.
Hey guys, yeah, pretty miserable weekend. Went with the whole trade-in Johnson sort of thing, and that came back to bite me pretty well. And of course, Beams being a late withdrawal too killed me. But I'm not having much luck this year. I've pretty much put the queue in the rack, and I'm just really hoping now. I'm down to 9 trades.
9 trades is better than a lot of people, though.
Anything else?
Yeah, definitely. And we've got the two buddies here. They're having a little slumber party.
Is that what considering what Damon's position is in, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, first off, tell us how your weekend went, Damon.
I can't understand a word that Paige is saying, but I think she's trying to slag me off, and it's just not working. So thanks for that Google Hangouts for the little bit of lag there.
Paige's internet connection.
Yeah, and thank Paige's internet connection as well. Yeah, as for how I went on the weekend, yeah, like Paige, I thought it was a master stroke trading in Johnson, but yeah, of course he didn't make it, didn't make the cut. I traded out Watson, which hurt even more because Watson long-term injury. I thought, oh yep, use my money that I had there, and I didn't even need to use any money. I down traded him to Johnson and made 60k. So I thought, oh, I'm sitting pretty here, 60k in the pocket, and I've got Stevie J who's going to make his debut for my team, and didn't end up happening. So that was that, and ended up getting back into my side Zorko, which wasn't too bad. He scored 81, so that was kind of justified there, and completes my side. And you can sling off at me all you like, even though I've got 4 trades left. But my man to be just right here, ask him how his team went and how he's travelling from now on.
Well, I guess I'll ask. You don't need to ask me, that's fine. That's a good intro, thanks, Damo. Yeah, my team's travelling pretty well, actually. I got 23-something on the weekend. I wasn't really paying too much attention to it over the last 3 weeks, been kind of busy with other things in life. But I've still managed to make my trades, which is a good thing. And yes, I have gone a bit trade crazy. I've got 3 left, which is less than everyone else probably in the competition. But I had 5, and I wasn't going to make any. Then I decided to get Nathan Fife in to complete my team and get Nick Rewald out because he's just annoying me now. So, yeah, so my team's pretty much complete. I'm living on the edge, but it's going well. You know, I'm expecting 2400s this week, and if I don't get it, I'm going to be very disappointed. But I'm in the top 4,000 now, so the charge to the top 1,000 is well underway, and I feel like if it keeps going this way, then I feel like at least out of us 4, I'm definitely going to top the table, I reckon.
Yeah, you have to catch up to me though, Nick. But he's living dangerously, more dangerously than what I was. I've still got 4 trades. I'm not using any this week, so I might meet you in the future, Nick, but not just yet.
I'm ahead of you. You're about 6,000.
Not in the league. Not in the league though. Damon's top of the league, so I don't know how that's happened.
Oh, in the league, that's ridiculous.
I know, right? Yeah, you're like 7th in the league. How does that happen?
Oh, mate.
Oh, wait. Even worse. But I think our lovely, the first lady of Supercoach, were you the chocolate hat this week, or was it Damon? Because it was one of you two.
Look, I'll claim it because I've probably had the most now. So that chocolate hat's fitting me nice and snug.
What did you score on the weekend, Paigey?
2183.
Oh, you've beat me. So I deserve.
God.
I deserve hat. I was 2153 with 2 zeros because Dame Beams. Oh, this is my gripe as well. I know that Joyce, you had your rejoice segment, but you had your little rant, and Paige, you had your Page Rage segment. Now I must go on my own little rage against Supercoach, the Nissan Supercoach website, because I traded out Louis Taylor, who is my bench player in my mids, traded him into my forward line, and doing so, it took the emergency tag off Louis Taylor and didn't automatically put it back onto Shenton, who I traded back or put him back into his place. So I could have copped 1-0, but because Supercoach stuffed me around and didn't put an emergency tag on my replacement midfielder means that I copped 2 zeros. So I scored 2-1-5-3, and that's thanks to Supercoach. Killed me.
Unfortunate. Well, I copped 2 zeros and I got 22.53, so you got no excuse, Damon. But anyway, enough about us. Enough about us. This show is about you guys, the Q&A. So just to make sure you know how to ask the questions, if you open the YouTube link, which has been provided on Facebook and whatever, you should see in the bottom left-hand corner, I think, am I pointing that way? That way? It should say Ask Q&A, and that should open up a new window where you can see us and then ask questions on the right side. Don't use the YouTube comments to ask us because they won't pop up for us live throughout the broadcasts, and so your question won't be answered. So make sure you use the Google Hangouts Q&A option, I suppose you could call it. But it's really easy. We've got a few questions that have come through already. Actually, before we start answering you guys' questions, we'll quickly run through What? Oh, yeah. Don't start. Don't start.
That was supposed to be in my head because I'm supposed to be the chocolate hat.
Actually looks alright. It's a good look. I might keep it, actually.
We'll start with the teams for this weekend. Not really much relevance in... Oh, no, Richmond, Sydney, you've got Dan Hannabury's out with an ankle, which is unfortunate. I think me and Damon were big supporters of him on last week's show, but I think we're cursed, Damon. We're cursed because we said to get Johnson or Hannabury. And then yeah. We did say Fife as well, though. So, yeah. We did recommend Fife over Barlow, and he did score better. So, go us. 1 out of 3 isn't bad.
If you were using tonight's loophole, for example, who would be in the barrel to be the loophole captain for tonight, or vice captain? Sorry.
McVeigh. McVeigh tends to do well against Richmond. Well, I mean, Cochin's not playing well this year. Malcheski, I feel like maybe Hardwick will put Morris to him in a defensive forward role because Sydney don't really have that many crumbing forwards. And, yeah, I think that'll leave McVeigh to run riot, but that's just me, and I don't use that shitty loophole because it's for people that don't know how to trust their gut. So, yeah.
I don't think there's anyone playing tonight that you could really use the loophole on.
It'd have to be McVeigh. That's the only one.
McVeigh,
What about Buddy?
Yep,
Rance tends to play quite well against him, actually, so I don't know about that.
Rance.
Well, I'm going to VC Buddy tonight and roll the dice because both Ablett and Pendlebury, the big two...
Yeah, they're playing on Saturday only, yeah.
Yeah, look, I'm just
same time over 2 games.
Oh, Paige, you and your internet. Anyway.
Hey, get off Dodo.
Yeah, Dodo's... there's a reason it's called that.
Not in yet, I'm still using a USB dongle.
Oh, yeah.
I understand what you're saying though. Like I had a look at it as well with Pendles and Ablett. Pendles is playing first from memory for Collingwood, so put the vice captaincy, if you want to use it, put the vice captaincy on Pendlebury and see how he goes. If he scores, usually my rule of thumb is with comparing it to Gaz, if he scores more than Gaz's average, which I think at the moment is 139, then stick with Pendles as your captain and use the captaincy loophole. Otherwise, yeah, if he doesn't reach 139, then stick the captaincy on Gaz.
Sure. Moving on to the next game would be Port Adelaide Bulldogs. Not many relevant things there. I suppose Hamish Hartlett's out, Jarman Impey's out, so a bit less cover. Pollock comes back in. I don't know how many people have held on to Pollock this long. I traded him out in the buy round, so yeah, that's about it. There's not much relevant for the Bulldogs side. So yeah, that's about it for that. Hawthorn, Collingwood, Beams. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So one guy I'm hoping to finally get a game is Honeychurch, because I've had him since the start of the season, and it's just so frustrating that he just can't seem to get a game. Paige, what's going on with that?
Yeah, tell us about Honey, Paige.
I love him. Love him so much. No, he's a really energetic, really polished type footballer. Just gains a lot of possession. He kicks goals. Last year in the TAC Cup, he was the only player to average 25 disposals and 2 goals a game. So he's been tearing up the VFL for Footscray. He averages around 100 Supercoach points as well at VFL level. So, and he does have that forward midfielder ability too. So if he can come in, he could look like it might be a really nifty prospect, hopefully this week or next week when he debuts.
Yep, cool.
The nickname that I like to give him, I've heard a couple of nicknames, one being Sweet God, and the other one being Sweet Religion.
Sweet Religion. For Hawthorn Collingwood, we've got 2 big ins again, Jack Gunston and Dane Beams. Bloody Beams last week just wrecked my good mood. But it's good that a lot of coaches will be breathing a sigh of relief that they're all back in. We're hearing who was it? Jack Frost might be a laid out page.
Yeah, that is true. There's a bit of a rumour doing the rounds that that Frosty won't front up tomorrow, which is why Jonathan Marsh, the last player picked in last year's draft, funnily enough, is actually on the emergency list. And big Jono Marsh, he's been playing centre half back and full back for Collingwood's VFL side, and has been doing a really great job. His development's been fantastic. And given the way that that Frost hyperextended his knee last week, he played through the game, but he just didn't look right when he was turning, and he didn't really attack the ball naturally like he used to. So I'd probably say in that regard that with Frost under an injury cloud, they might opt to rest him, given it's probably going to be a bit of a whitewash win tomorrow for Hawthorn, and maybe give Jonathan Marsh the opportunity to go with, say, a Gunston, for example. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Either way, if you've got Gunston or Ruffy, I think you're in for a fair good score tomorrow.
Sounds like the case. Geelong, Gold Coast, not much relevant for the Suns, but for the Cats, Steve Johnson's apparently back in, as is Shane Kirsten, who I think, Mick, you traded in Kirsten, right?
Yes, I did. The big raps on this guy. Kicked 6 goals in the VFL. Small forward, and I reckon if he can get a couple of goals, Geelong might keep him in. I actually traded out Louis Taylor for him. Good downgrade, very good downgrade. I kept Taylor pretty much till the right time with Beams being out last week, and Taylor actually got 101 as my emergency. So again, just lucky. Put Louis Taylor into the forward line. Put Honeychurch into my midfield. So hopefully Honeychurch gets a game because he's my only backup. And got Kirsten in the forward line. Then I traded out Rewalt for Fife. So Kirsten is my godsend this week, so I really hope that he continues to get a game.
I doubt it. Moving on to Fremantle, Brisbane. Not much relevant here. A few weeks ago, maybe, you've got Nick Robertson and Tom Cutler who've come in, but they've already peaked. And James Ash is out, who you should have already traded out. So moving on to the next one. Essendon, Adelaide. Chappie has been rested. I know a few people still have him. Matt Crouch and Jared Lyons just keep doing the switcheroo, which, I don't know, one's in 1 week, one's out the next. Don't use the term that we use for Sean Higgins' page because it disgusts me every time. But, yeah, that's about it for that game. I think we saw some... No, never mind. I'm being an idiot. GWS against Carlton. We've got nothing really relevant there either. Super good, irrelevant week. St Kilda Eagles, Luke Shuey's back in, who was it? Damon and I had Shuey, right? And then we got rid of him because he was spotting it up.
Yeah, I remember the trade debate week when we were debating whether or not to get rid of Cochin, and I was weighing up whether or not to trade out Cochin or Shuey, and ended up cutting Shuey, which probably was the lesser of the two evils, because Cochin is still spotting it up by his standards. So. But yeah, Shuey didn't play last week, and the week prior to that, I think he sputtered it up and hasn't done too well. So that was a good trade for me. But yeah, good to see him back in this week for those that still have him.
Yeah, expect Cochin to get a mid-80s score like he's done the past 4 bloody weeks. And who else have we got? Nothing on St Kilda's side that's relevant, and nothing really on...
the big name, Lucy.
What big name?
The big out. Joshy Shawn, how do you say his name? Josh Saunders.
Joshy Saunders.
Josh Saunders.
Yeah, Sean Connery.
I'm Sean Connery from the entire...
What were you saying, Paige?
I said, that's our boy Josh Saunders, all right?
Yeah,
We do love him in the TV show.
We do, just not in Supercoach. We don't. And nothing for Melbourne and North Melbourne of relevance. Liam Anthony's out, but who honestly has him? And Brad McKenzie is in. And Mick traded in Nathan Jones last week, which is dumb. He just keeps getting lucky things. I hate it.
Stevie J. Stevie J got 0, I believe, and Nathan Jones got 127 and has an average of around about just under 110. So man, he's having a great season, and people underrate him just the same way they underrated Callum Ward. Look what he's doing. Same way they underrated Adam Treloar. Look what he's doing. So don't write anyone off. I mean,
I don't underrate him. I just think he's too inconsistent because he can score 60s or the like.
I think he's got a last 3-round average of around about, just let me check, 114 is his last 3-round average. So, I mean, yes, his low score is 60, and his high score is 142, but I'll get up his profile now. I don't think he's scored below 100 too often. I think he's got maybe 2 or 3 below 100. And,
he's got like 5 or 6 below 100. That's the reason I haven't been getting him.
So, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, and it was a 95, a 90, and an 89, and an 81 in those 4. In those 5, sorry. And then the last...
I'm not saying he's a bad mid.
Otherwise, he's had scores of 142, 132, 140, 122, 114, 127, 127. So...
I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm saying he's a good Supercoach player. If he was in, say, another line, he'd be a great player. But just he's not a top 8 midfielder in my mind, just because he's had 5 scores below 100, which you don't want.
Yeah,
Stephenson being out was a joke. Come on.
You have to think. Oh, it was, but you have to think about the points of difference at this point of the season. I'm not only looking to get the top 1,000. I've got a pretty solid midfielder. I guess if you take him out of the equation, my midfielders Ablett, Pendlebury, Liberatore, Selwood, Beams, Dangerfield, and Fife. So having him in there, maybe one week he will score 60, and then, I mean, it'd be pretty rare at this point of the season. I feel like Melbourne are picking up and he's leading the way. But I mean, if he's going to score 140s every now and then, and the rest of my the midfield's going to be pretty consistent, which they have been, then I feel like it's not only going to go towards actually getting into the top 1,000 at the end of the season, it's also going to go towards winning me some league matches, because he's not owned by that many people. He's only owned by about 7,000 people. So it's all about the league, baby. Got to get up there in the league.
It's all about the league. Gotta catch them. Yeah. All right, so we've done the teams, we've done our teams. Now moving on to the Q&A stuff. Just to remind you again, to ask your questions, be sure to use the Google Hangouts Q&A option, not the YouTube comments, because you can just see them so much easier. Or we can see them so much easier, sorry. So we'll move on to the first one, which has got quite a bit of support from you guys. You can also +1 comments that you think are very interesting, and it'll bump them up to the top. So we'll start out, how many trades should coaches hold going into the finals? I'm just going to ignore what Damon and Mick say, because they've got way too few.
What's he going to say?
Yeah.
What is it? Live fast, die young. That's my motto.
I also like to live dangerously.
Live fast, die young is a dumb motto. It should be live fast, die last. And
live fast, get rid of caution. Hurry up.
Yeah, I should get rid of caution, but I can't justify it. You should have 5 trades going into the final, honestly.
Yeah, you should. You need to have around. Well, we're still about 6 weeks out. No, we actually are now 6 weeks out from the start of Supercoach finals. So, ideally, right now, you'd want to be having around that 10 to 8 trades at the moment left, with a minimum of 5 to maybe 3 going into the actual finals.
Yeah, I think if Mick's team crashes and burns, I'm going to be the happiest person alive, just because he's dug himself a hole that he won't be able to get out of. So yeah, I agree with Paige. You should have. Ideally, I would like to have about 8 now, and then go into finals with 5 or 4. But I have 6, and I'll probably use 1 this week. So if I can have 4 going to finals, I'd be looking pretty good.
It really depends also on where your team is at the moment. Like if you finalise your side, like I know Mick has now, I've finalised my side. I don't know about you two guys, but also
Hey,
as well is that.
Complete, and I have 9 trades left.
Yeah, but okay. The next question is.
Aren't you scoring about 2,000 each week though?
Yeah, it's just scoring output as well, which you've got to look at, and whether or not you've got coverage on your bench for each portion of your side. I've got coverage on each section, apart from my defence, because Hawthorn are just absolute pricks, for less of a better word, and dropped Langford out of the side for no reason. So yeah, I'm sad on that. But yeah, I think it comes down to form, where your team is at the moment. Is it complete? And whether or not you have adequate cover on the bench. See, I'm sitting pretty at the moment. Apart from Langford, I've got those 4 trades there. So if someone's injured, I'm not forced to use one of those trades in order to just cover a player that's going to be missing for a week. I can use my bench cover. So that's not too bad. That's why I'm not too scared at the moment. Until those bench players get dropped or injured, then I'll start worrying.
Yeah. Good discussion. Moving on from. It's this Kelvinatorization. Good name. What do you think? Who do you think is the best ruck to replace Cox? I'm going to go out and say Shane Mumford, just because I think his price has dropped enough from when he was when he did have that really high break even, and now he's primed to be picked. I mean, he's still averaging 120, even after that 40 that he scored in his comeback game against Richmond, and then he's come back with scores of 115, 112, and 123 to give himself a break even of 91. So yeah, Mumford, good option. How about you guys?
Oh look, I still think.
I should direct that. Paige, you answer first.
No, I do. I like Mumford, and maybe that's not just because I held on to him for those 6 weeks that he was out for. I do. I just think he's one of the biggest ruckmen that can actually really pull in a huge score. And although Nick Nat looks like he's found some form, and he looks a bit of a smoky.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Paige, you and your internet.
Is she finished? Oh no, she's just oohing. Ooh. She likes it. I think got me through
No. Go ahead, David.
Yeah. No, you go first, Mick, because I think she was most surprised about your option.
Look, obviously I went with Jamar, and I said I'm either going to look like a genius or an idiot. Right now I'm looking like an idiot, but he's still scoring 70s, so whatever. Look, Sam Jacobs, obviously a very good option still. He's obviously a bit pricey, but then you've got Nick Nat, I think is the main choice for most people. But hey, Stephen Muck, come up. He's a bit of a smoky, and he's got that forward option as well. So if you ever need to make a quick trade, and he's gained a bit of cash into the forward line, get Buddy or someone like that when they're a bit lower in price, like he did, then that's a good option as well. But I think most people would go for Mumford, surely.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, Mumford, Jacobs, if you've already got him, but he's the higher end option, so you need cash in order to upgrade to him. But apart from that, Nick Nat, he was the player to get on 4 weeks ago, around about the time when Jacobs was out for a week or so, or when he injured himself, sorry. And there was questions as to whether or not he's going to pull up fine for the next week. And I was actually looking at downgrading Jacobs to Nick Nat, and would have been a pretty good trade, but I would have been down to 3 trades. But yeah, Nick Nat, he scored in the past 3 weeks 113, 116, and 142. So his last 3 round average is 123, and his average overall is 83. So he's bumping up his average, and he's sure found some form.
Yeah, but Jacobs has been doing fine as well. I mean, he had that dud week of 57, but he's got 116 and 126 now. So you did good by keeping Jacobs, Damon. Next question, which I have no idea why this is being asked: is Dangerfield worth keeping? Who's a good replacement? I have 13 trades left. Why would you trade Dangerfield? Don't do it. Paige, your thoughts before you.
Well, yeah. 13 trades, that's heaps. That team mustn't be finalised yet, surely. But
there's going to be worse parts of your side that need attention before you look at someone like Dangerfield. And considering that he plays some pretty interesting teams coming up, and he's got a really good average against, I don't know why he'd bother. I mean, he's a premium. Again, as Mick said, there's got to be more areas of your side that needs attention first than Dangerfield. I'd keep him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think me and Pagey both have gone Dangerfield into the midfield and brought in, say, a buddy or someone like that into our forward line. So that's definitely an option. Don't get rid of him. Just bring him into the midfield. And he makes a solid midfielder as well as a solid forward. So, I think that's the problem that most people are sort of thinking that players like Parker, Dangerfield, Martin, they need to keep them all in their forward line, and it's just wrong. You can move them into the midfield, and they still make for a very strong midfield.
Yeah, definitely. Next question kind of stems from what people were talking about earlier. Miles or Stefan Martin? Miles has only played one game, so don't jump on him yet. I think he's a very good player, but he's not priced at rookie price. He's priced at 200 and something, so you're not going to get a lot of money from him. And I think with Stefan Martin, at this time of year, you should be trading for the team that you want to play in finals. And Stefan Martin, I think, will either not be in the team or he won't be scoring enough because Leeuwenburg will be back by the time Supercoach finals are here. And that's just my opinion. So I would get neither of them, honestly, unless you really needed a cheap ruck because, for example, Cox is out and you don't have money to go up to a Mumford. Then maybe I would get Martin. Otherwise, no. What do you think, Mick?
Those two players, they're the higher end, like downgrade rookie options in comparison to, say, if you're like a Honeychurch, who there's no guarantee of playing anytime soon, or even keeping his spot if he does come into the side. So at least with Miles and Stefan Martin, at least with Brisbane they don't have a ruckman, so they're going to rely on Stefan Martin. So he's going to play pretty much every game for the rest of the season, or until Louis comes back. I think he comes back in about 3 or 4 weeks or so. So if his form doesn't keep up until then, he may be in the chopping block. So keep that in mind with Martin. And with Miles as well, I think he's had a ripping debut, and with the way that Richmond are travelling at the moment, he'll probably get more opportunity than not. But even so, with that security there, more so with Miles than Martin, I think they're just too expensive an option to downgrade to. And there was one sort of trade that I was looking at a few weeks ago was Derek's down to Martin, but you only make about 60k, so it's not really worth it even in that instance. If you're making downgrades at this point in the season, you want to make some decent coin on it.
Yep. Speaking of Derek's, we've got a question from Matt Bates. He's got 6 trades left. Going to downgrade Derek's at some point for cash before final. Should he do it now that Pike is back? I mean, if you think your rucks are going to be fine, but throughout the year they haven't been the most reliable. And I think Pike was in last week and then he was a laid out, so you don't know that it's going to be totally reliable. So I would say no. I mean, it's the sort of trade that you can do at any time before finals. You won't be using a bunch of trades at once, so I don't know. That's just my opinion. I wouldn't do it now because Derek's tends to score the same every single week, so his price isn't going to change.
Well, I actually last week I downgraded Derek.
Oh, here we go. You downgraded.
Keep us hanging, please.
Keep us hanging. Photos of her when she's frozen.
Yeah, let's try it.
Yeah, we should.
This one.
Next question.
Oh well. Your guys' thoughts?
Yeah. Personally, I wouldn't get rid of Derek's.
No.
Again, he's kept his spot on the side, and the Sydney side for most of the year, as if they're going to drop him. Just hold on to him. Look elsewhere in your team if you're trying to do a downgrade option, because if it comes to not having a bench cover option for your rucks, like I don't, you're really risking it going into the finals. Especially with ruckman, because ruckman can get injured at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, and especially Sandy as well. Everyone's got Sandilands, and we know that he hasn't played a full season for, I don't think, once in his career. So yeah, he's bound to be rested at some point if he doesn't get injured. So yeah, I'd probably opt to keep Derek's as your backup, just in case that does happen. In all likelihood, it probably will happen. So keep hold of him.
Not everyone has Sandlands. You got someone sitting next to you, Damon, that doesn't have Sandlands.
Excluding him because he's just very happy.
Hey, I traded him out for Todd Goldstein. The last 2 weeks, Todd Goldstein's got 166 and I think 106. And,
Why have Sandlands and Goldstein then, not Jamar? Oh man.
Good point. I don't even remember who I traded. I traded out Brody Grundy for Jamar. At the time, it was a very good trade. At the time, it was a very good trade because Jamar backed up 200s, 100 pluses in a row, and Grundy was about 60s. So I think I did well there.
Yeah, you did. Moving on, speaking of, well, we've been talking about downgrades and all that sort. McGovern, good downgrade option. If you did it last week, yeah, but way too late now. He's shot up to, 213,000. So I was lucky enough to get on McGovern. I actually had him as my emergency, and after he scored that 146, I traded Charlie Cameron onto the field for Patrick Ambrose. So I knew he was going to cop a 0, and then I just prayed that there were no more forward outs, and so I got McGovern's 146 in my score. I doubt he could keep up that kind of scoring, but no, not a good downgrade option now. Look for something else.
Way too expensive. Either Kirsten or Honeychurch, I think, are the two main ones. Broomhead, unlikely to keep his spot on the side. Kirsten's a bit of a gamble. Honeychurch, if he makes his debut, all these raps that Paige has been putting on him, he better back him up because Paige has been talking this kid up so much. Mm. So, Paige, what's your thoughts?
Hey, come on, he's a favourite of mine for a long time in the TAC Cup with the Eastern Rangers. As I said before, the kid's going to be a star, and I'm telling you right now, that's going to reflect in his Supercoach scoring. He is an absolute gun. Great disposal efficiency, hard tackler, wins a lot of the ball, and he kicks goals. He's a barometer sort of player. He offers run and carry to a Bulldog side that's probably one area that they're sort of lacking in this year is that outside run, moving forward to goal. So,
and there she goes.
With the mouth
See your Paige. But she almost got a full answer out though, so that's good. Get your internet working, Paige. Yeah. Moving on. Will Honeychurch get a game this year? Probably not. Well, he should, but probably not.
He will. He will.
I'm going to hold you to that. If he doesn't get a game, I'm not going to bet anything because this is something you're claiming. If he doesn't get a game, you owe me something. You owe me...
Okay, sure.
Hey, what did he get? 35 touches and 5 goals in the VFL, and Cooney is out, and he's still not getting a game. It is up in the air, but well, Paige is very, very adamant that he will get a game. So let's just stick with that because I've stuck with it since the start of the season, and now I'm really banking on it.
You need it.
I'm really banking.
It's going to happen.
If it's not this week, it'll be next.
Yeah. Okay. Sure thing.
But saying that, I've got all right luck so far in the season, so hopefully that means he'll get a game.
It means you've used up all your luck, Nick, so expect to have him not play at all.
Yeah.
Next question from Andrew Williams. Should I put Nick Rewalt on the bench and play Shenton? I can't trade Nick out as I only have 3 left. That probably wouldn't stop Mick or Damon, but...
It's funny because Mick was actually just busy texting that question, and Andrew Williams is his alias, so not really.
Trade Rewalt out and get in. If you haven't got Wingard, he's a good option, very good option. A few other good options. You can trade. I know he's very inconsistent, but Cyril Rioli, he's quite. He is inconsistent, but he can just get in the 140s. You guys have got
Don't trust him.
Points of difference.
Don't make me say it.
Hey?
Don't make me say it.
Say what?
You say, Paige.
The thing about Rioli.
God, guys.
Yeah. No, he is quite similar to Higgins, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, don't take that piece of advice then.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Andrew Williams is banking on Shenton scoring more than Rewalt, which he probably has in the past few weeks. But he's in your side as a premium for a reason. He's not scoring like one, but back him in, I think. It'll come good, and I think they'll probably average about the same. So it's about a 50-50 prospect, yeah.
Yeah. Adrian Martin's asking, who should I get for Viney? Someone around 500k. Sheesh. Where's Viney? Steve Johnson's around 500k. How much is your love child Nathan Jones, Mick?
536 at the moment.
536.
Went up. He was around 500 last week, so that's when you should have jumped on him because he was around the same price as Stevie J. I got him.
Oh God, no! Someone around that, like one of them, which kind of moves on to. Wait, someone asked this. Nathan Jones or Steve Johnson, asked by Adrian Martin actually. I think the smart option is Steve Johnson. Like it is.
Well, you'd think now it'd be Steve Johnson, but I mean, again, everyone got him last week, so he's probably owned by about 500,000 people out of the 200,000 people that play it. So that's pretty bad odds if you want to point a difference. So I don't know, Joyce. You make this decision, Joyce.
Hey, Joyce, I'm with you, mate. All over Stevie J.
Yeah, like just because you know, whatever it is, 5% of people jump off a cliff, because the 80% of people aren't jumping off a cliff doesn't mean that you should jump off the cliff. That's my thought behind Johnson or Jones.
You never jumped off the cliff named Trent Cotchin earlier in the season, so...
No, I didn't, because he's going to come good and win the Brownlow. You watch. Oh, he might win a Brownlow because, you know, 2012 stuff. But, yeah, Johnson. It has to be Johnson, honestly. He's cheaper. He doesn't dip below 100 as much as Jones does. And he has been playing injured for the past 2 games that he's played. So that kind of is the reason behind his 92 and 84 that he scored. So he could have played last week, Chris Scott said, but they just wanted to manage him a bit more. So I think he could jump out with 100 plus this week. I'm hoping he does. So, yeah, hoping that happens. Moving on for one from Car2. Need Kirsten, Honeychurch, or Broomhead. Don't need them this week, but need the highest job security. Only have 140k.
Honeychurch!
He said he wanted high job security, Paige. High job security, not non-existent job security.
Well, have a look at Kirsten. Kirsten will not have any job security in that Geelong side. And Tim Broomhead, well, geez, that could go either way. If anything, he's going to remain a sub-player, a bit like Impey.
I feel like Kirsten does have a bit of job security based on Geelong's history from this year. They've been playing a lot of youngsters, and they've been giving them a fair few games. So at least, you know, Kirsten, I feel like, is the one that's most likely. I know you love Honeychurch, Paige, but I feel like Kirsten is the one that is most likely to get the longest string of games, whereas Broomhead, you know, potentially could be dropped next week if someone else, whoever it is, Sidebottom coming back in. So yeah, I think Broomhead will be the one to go then. And Honeychurch, who the hell knows?
Yeah, I'd say Kirsten.
Geelong have still got as well. They've still got a lot of players to come back in. I mean, Burberry they really rate. George Hall and Smith they really rate. You know, those guys. You know, they'll probably also bring in Dawson Simpson back as well, who plays that that ruck forward too. So they've got their players to come back in as well.
True. I guess he's just one to look out for then. I guess to see how he plays. I reckon if he gets 2 goals this week, he'll keep his spot. We'll just say that.
I think the one promising thing with Kirsten as well and Geelong is that Geelong actually managing players at this time of season. We saw last week McIntosh, he was one who got rested. Stevie J, there's some conjecture as whether or not he was an out because of his back or if he was just rested in general. So I think the fact that they're resting a lot of players and turning the list, the first 22 over, says to me that Kirsten, even if he does drop out of the side, will eventually come back to the side, I think. So I think he's probably got more chance of... look at Paige, looks as though she's thinking right there.
Sorry, distracted.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I think Kirsten will probably keep his spot over, say, Honeychurch or Broomhead at this stage.
Yeah, and I mean, Geelong made 6 changes this week, so it's not like they don't have the depth to, do these sorts of changes. I mean, they've got these players. Hopefully, Kirsten's not one of them that just come in for 1 week to cover for an injured player and then just go out the next week. So like Brett Hartman and Darcy Lang did that last week. And they are like managing certain players, like Dawson Simpson. It specifically says managed on his reason for being out. So, yeah, I roll the dice. I mean, Honeychurch should be getting games, but he's not. So, yeah, Kirsten would have to be the one that I go with. Keep or trade Zach Merritt is the next question, and Merritt's gone up to 330k, break even of 64. Yeah, I guess. I mean, he's a forward, so
he's not moving from that Essendon side at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing much better than his bloody brother. And yeah, I'd keep him for now. I mean, he's averaging about the same as his break-even, so you're not going to lose anything major by not trading him this week. So yeah, I'd keep him for now. Maybe trade in. Who's a good trade this week? Stephen Martin, if you need him.
Wingard?
Yeah.
Chad Wingard, yeah. I mean, people are asking, I did make a mistake earlier, sorry, that Miles has played 2 games, averaging about 95 now, but he's priced at 240, and that's way too much for a rookie for mine. So you either want to go down to a bargain basement rookie that is playing and making a little bit of money, or a super premium, and Miles is neither of them. So, no, don't trade him. Moving on from that, Matt Box asks, thoughts on Wingard? You take this one, Mick, because he's your love child.
Thoughts on Wingard? Yeah, well, we've discussed him at length, I guess, so far. He's coming into some good form. He scored 92 on the weekend. He hasn't been killing it by any means. And his last 3-round average is only 71. But I mean, he gets that occasional game where he just lights it up completely, and he's that kind of guy that can kick a match-winning goal. So, or take a spectacular grab as we've seen, and set up those plays that get a lot of points. So, at 390,000, if you've got Rewalt, you don't have Wingard, that's a trade definitely you should make straight away, unless obviously you're down to the 2 or 3 trades. But yeah, look, I feel like Wingard is definitely one that you should have as your 6th forward.
Yeah.
Because he's I think he's probably most people's 6th forward. I don't know how many people own him at the moment.
17.5% of people in the competition own him.
So look, that's still not too much considering his price, considering the type of player he is, and he's a forward mid as well. So you never know, he might start averaging 110, 120 over the next 5 rounds, and people will be looking at him a lot more. And but it could go either way. So obviously you're taking a risk with any of these kind of guys who haven't sort of performed to their peak. But the thing is, though, his peak is just so high, and we've seen that in the last couple of seasons. And with Port Adelaide going so well, take the chance.
And the one thing I like about Wingard as well is over the past 2 weeks, I've seen especially, he's been pushing into the midfield and swapping positions with Gray at times during the match. Whilst he starts predominantly and plays predominantly up forward still, he does switch between midfield and forward with Gray. So he's getting more and more time in midfield and more chance to rack up the ball, which was probably his major downfall. He can always kick goals, but he didn't really get enough of the ball, and he's starting to now at the moment. And I actually traded him in at round 11. And it was another curse player that I traded in, and he was concussed in his first game and only scored 10 for me. So, but since then he scored 112 and 92, and prior to that concussion game he scored 100. So, if you subtract that 10, he'd be averaging over 100, so about 105 or so. So, he's averaging quite well at the moment, and higher than what his average at the moment is indicating, which is 82.
Yep, definitely. Moving on to Royal Akhtar, who asks about he's got Joe Watson, still wants to get rid of him and get Matt Stokes, and speaks about how he's very underrated. I kind of agree. Like, if you're speaking about points of difference, Stokes is one of them. Past 2 weeks he's got 134 and 147, so very big scores. you've got the Gold Coast this week, which historically he doesn't score that great against, but he plays very well against Essendon. And then he's got the Dogs, Melbourne, and GWS. So lots of easier teams for Geelong coming up. So, yeah, if you want to take a gamble and have a point of difference, I'd get on Stokes. Your thoughts, guys? We'll start with Paige, see if she can get a full answer in.
Thank you, Joyce. No, I really like him. If I had room for him, I'd bring him in. But I really like Geelong's run home. I really rate it. Lots of games at Simmons Stadium, and they got.
And there she goes. All right, your turn, David.
Yeah, I'm just looking at.
They're playing against him as well.
Just keep going.
Dropping in and out. Stop interrupting me, Paige. No, just having a look at his scoring over the season.
I hate this internet.
He's done quite well. He's only dipped below 100 1, 2, 3 times, and 97, 87, and 78. But apart from that, he's been scoring well over the hundreds, and the past couple of weeks especially, he's got 134, 147, like you said, Joyce, and he's in ripping form at the moment. So yeah, definitely say that's a decent trade.
Yeah, last week I was looking at either Jones, Sloane, or Stokes, just for a little insider knowledge there. And I chose Jones simply because he at the time he was a little bit cheaper. So that was the only reason. Apart from that, yeah, Stokes was probably the second favourite. He's only owned by 2,000 people. So if you want a point of difference to win you some league games, that he is the man of the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, Sloane's not a bad option either. He's only dipped below 100 once this year, and that was with an 83. So not bad at all if you want another point of difference option with Sloane. Moving on, back to McGovern. Worth bringing him in for Higgins or Nick Riewoldt? Nah, won't make enough money. He's not going to keep up. He's not going to get 146 every week. So either go to a super cheap rookie like your Kirsten or Honeychurch, or super premium like Gray or Harvey or something like that. Any differing opinions there, guys?
No, sounds good to me.
All right. Chance White, do I trade out Cade Simpson? And if yes, who do I bring in? Why would you trade out Cade Simpson? Top 5 defender.
I think at this point of the season, people are just looking for all sorts of options to downgrade to. And you know, what's Cade Simpson at? He's around. He's
550.
He's 550
exactly.
If you look at players like, let's say, Hibbard, for example, now he's not going to get the same output as Simpson, but he's at 464. You got Hanley, who has picked up his game over the last few weeks, got 133 on the weekend. If you haven't got him, he's 478. So if you're just looking for that, you know, extra 50,000 or 70,000 sort of to get in the bank just to get another premium like, let's say, Fife or Pendlebury or whoever it is, right, then maybe that is an option. But, don't do it.
I've had Simpson all season, and it was probably at round, these first 3 rounds of the season, he's got 105, 61, and 86, and at that point I thought, oh, geez, this is going to come back to bite me in the ass because I got him in my side as a bit of a point of difference, and then I thought, no, I'll keep hold of him, and it paid off. And from then on, he scored 128, 104, 98, 109, 145, 144, and 112. And it's only in the past couple of weeks he scored 76 and 83, and I think that's kind of what Chance is probably basing this off. But you don't trade on week to week; you trade over a 5-week period if they're not performing. And at this point in the season, you want to conserve your trades. Conserve them like Mick and I have, and put them to good use, and don't use them for sideways trades like with Simpson.
Yeah. We've only got about 10, 12 minutes left, guys, so let's do some quick fire answers. Moving on, is it worth getting Jesse Hogan for Supercoach finals? 217k, maybe 6 forward. No, it's mine because. Yeah, just
definitely
don't do it. Stephen Martin versus the Sandman. I assume that's Sandilands, or will he play forward? Sandilands is my thoughts on that. You guys?
Yeah, Stephen Martin's probably going to play forward when Lundberger comes back, so that will probably see his scoring capacity reduce. But yeah, don't go past Sandilands.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Chance with another question. How long do you think Brody Grundy will be out for? Well, he's not out with an injury. He's been omitted, and he's actually an emergency for the game. So I think it's more just matchups against Hawthorn. And Jared Witts can be very up and down as well. So if Witts has a very bad game, you'd think Grundy would come back. So not long.
Grundy will come back next week or the week after for sure. They're probably just resting him.
Yeah.
No,
do you, from Big Digger Nick, very clever, do you see Nick Riewoldt scoring well again, or is his lack of supply and lack of support affecting his scores? You just got it, didn't you? Yeah, I mean, his lack of supply and lack of support is affecting his scores, but St Kilda's not doing anything about it, so I don't really see him scoring well again. You guys?
I just got it now.
Yeah, took you a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Nick Riewoldt will score big again. From another one from Royal, who is the best forward to get in right now? Probably Robbie Gray, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Robbie Gray or Brent Harvey or Dustin Martin, if you haven't got him already. He's been scoring very well over the last sort of 3-4 weeks.
Yep. Good old Dusty. Can rely on him. Not like you, Conchin. Peace Klasevsky. He has 10 trades and Tyson in his midfield with Hallahan and Akers as emergencies. Hey, same as me. Do we trade Hallahan or Tyson and get a Miles? Only 12k. I assume that's how much money you have. I mean, Hallahan's not playing. I don't think he's injured, and he's not an emergency. So, for whatever reason, Hawthorn aren't wanting to play him. So I would be looking to get a lot of money if you know that's the sort of thing you got. I mean, if you can only go to a Miles, then don't really do it. So if I were in your shoes, I would trade Hallahan to, even though he's not playing, Honeychurch. So at least you get 180k, even though he's not. There's no difference in games played. You guys?
Agree. Totally agree with you, Joyce.
How much is Hallahan worth?
300.
I was thinking maybe you could probably downgrade him to. He's already got Akers. I was going to say Akers, but yeah, seeing as though he's already got him, there aren't really any others that he could downtrade to. So, and I assume he still needs to upgrade Tyson. So maybe look at downgrading someone else in another part of your side and using that cash to upgrade Tyson.
Yep. Who is better, Robbie Gray or Brent Harvey? Either one. Take your pick. Whoever one you like. That's.
Robbie Gray.
You think Gray's better? Even though Kangas are playing Melbourne this week?
No, well, I see Robbie Gray, long-term, a much better prospect than Harvey. Harvey can have those games where he'll score below 100. Gray's been consistently good this year.
Yes, but in the seasons prior to this, he's been consistently injured, and that's the thing that worries me. So.
I'm not going to back off the good thing. He's been fantastic this year.
Oh, no doubt. I think he's the number 2 forward. I just think Harvey's the number 1 forward. That's all. At the moment.
Oh, look, I'm all over Gray.
You guys?
You also got to remember that Brent Harvey's about 46 years old, 47.
Oh, yeah.
So he could get injured as well. So
yeah, he's about 50. Moving on. This is an interesting one. He has 3 trades left, and he's going for broke. After he uses the 3 trades, he'll have about 1.5 million to spend on a defender and 2 midfielders / forwards. What's the best way to trade? Should he get 2 premiums for his midfield forward line and 1 average defender? I mean, it's really hard to say without looking at your team, but I mean, the midfielders are the ones that score big, so go big with them, I suppose.
Yeah, or just get the forward mids or the defender mids. Easy option. Get Pierce Hanley or get Bartel.
Yeah.
He's scoring well. He got 152 on the weekend, so he's one guy you can put in your defence or your midfield. So but with 1.5 million,
it sounds like you, money
like
bags.
Maybe at round 3 or round 4, yes, but not at this point of the season, definitely not.
And going for broke, I wouldn't recommend that without any bench cover to help you out. So, yeah, it's hard to say depending on what your side looks like, but yeah. No. I'll probably end up saving the 1.5 and the 3 trades just in case, or maybe use one and just save the other 2 trades for when injuries do hit.
Yeah. LeBron James asking again after losing the NBA final, is Lumumba a good trade this week? I'm assuming that's based off his past 2 scores of, I think it's 91 and 99. So he hasn't even cracked the ton, so no, is my thoughts.
For his Supercoach standards, he's had a very good season. But saying that though, yeah, he's definitely not in the top 6 defenders.
Yeah, they wouldn't go for him.
No, especially when I'm sure he's probably around the price of Piers Handley or Hibbert. I don't actually know his exact price, but
he's at 425 is his price.
Oh, see, I mean, you can get someone like Birchall for 40 grand more. So why would you?
Yeah, you can get Heath Shaw. You can get Yench for cheaper.
Yeah.
So yeah. Another one from LeBron. What are your Supercoach team names? Mick is May Baby. Damon is Wolf of SCP. Paige is Rampage. And I am Incoming. I need to change that. I don't like that name anymore.
Outgoing should be.
Yeah, should be. Bugsy McRabs. What? Asks, he's got a 460k to replace Fasolo with. Which forward would you take? Dalhouse, Rioli, or Zorko? I like Zorko. Your guys' thoughts?
Yep, Zorko.
Yeah, I like Zorko twice over. I traded him out and brought him back in again. I liked him that much.
I reckon go Dalhouse. He's been very good this season. Probably better than Zorko. Yeah. I saw him play against Collingwood properly on the weekend, and he is a very good player. So yeah, I'd go
a lot less attention going to him since he cut his hair, which is, I think that was a tactics thing.
Yeah, so, Yets or something.
Yeah, look like a woman.
Yeah, that too.
Keys, yeah.
Right.
Well, I've got
See you, Paige.
I think what Paige was trying to say is that the footy is starting now, Joyce. So I think we better wrap it up with the last couple of questions.
Yeah, it's 10 more minutes, so we'll go 4 minutes left of questions. So we'll really fire through them. 5 for Stevie J. Johnson really obviously cheaper, but 5 is as cheap as it'll be. Personal preference doesn't matter. I go.
Okay.
Yeah, if I had my thoughts again, I would go 5.
5 for sure.
Is there anything else? No, that's dumb.
Which one's dumb?
No. Should I trade Ablett for Honeychurch?
yes.
Paige says.
Oh, there's another one there as well. Yeah.
I've already got. Is there anyone better out there than Matt Stokes to bring in at the moment? Let's say no.
There's a question here, Joyce, for you about.
I'll get it at the end. With Cox out and Martin currently covering for him, would you trade Cox for Nick Nat? Only have 5 trades left. Nah, don't do it. I mean, if you've got Martin already, then by the time that you need to do more trades, then Leuenberg will probably be back, and then you can do the trade after Martin's made some money. If that's my thoughts. Trading in Higgins and Suckling. Do I trade in Heath Shaw / Hibbert and Lance Franklin / Luke Parker, or trade in McVeigh and Wingard? Or no, that's way too many options. I would get McVeigh and Wingard out of those options. Agree, people, for Higgins and Suckling?
Yeah, McVeigh and Wingard, like you said. Yeah.
Sounds good. I don't think there's many other good questions. Sorry for other people, but should I get rid of Dame Beebs for Steve Johnson? That's a dumb question. Don't ask that. Just going to mine. Jack Darley, are you still doing the Rejoice podcast? Yes, I am. Sorry for not doing it the past 2 weeks, but exams are a bitch. So I'll be done them on Wednesday. So probably not this coming week, but the week after I'll be doing them again. So yeah, something to look forward to. But yeah, that's about all. Thanks again, guys, for listening in. Be sure to follow both Supercoach as well as all of us on the Twitter and Facebook. Although I'm sure you already follow us on Facebook if you got this notification. But I am TigerMatt123. Damon is whatever Damon is. What is it? Damo J88. Yes, it is. And Paige is. Are you just Paige Cardona now, Paige?
It is. That's correct.
And what are you, Mick? I never get yours, even when I search for it. M McCormick89.
What,
right?
First letter of my name and last name. And,
no, but I'm used to typing in Mick something, and then you don't show up, so I'm always confused. Anyway.
Yes, and also next week we should be going back to our traditional format, filming live from Bar 94. So look out for that. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Yep, thanks for joining us, everyone. Hope you enjoy the game tonight more than I probably will. And yeah, best of luck with your Supercoach this week, and hopefully someone else can be Chocolate Hat other than me, Damon, and Paige. Hint, hint. So, I see. Very good. All right.
You, sir.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.